Right. Welcome, everyone. The Board of Education meeting is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Member Torres is running just a little bit late. Member Johnson, would you mind taking a roll call this evening?
Sure. All members are here except for Member Torres.
Thank you. Colleagues, our approval of the agenda, unless there are objections, the agenda will be approved as printed. Okay, excellent. Colleagues, you know it's that time of year. I think if not our favorite time of the year, it's got to be top three at least. For our student holiday performance. So this evening, we are so excited to welcome some very special guests that are ready to get us into the holiday spirit. I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Wolf for introductions. And colleagues, let's move down there so we can watch our amazing students. So, Mr. Wolf.
All right, if our students want to make their way up to the front, I see our board is taking their seats in the audience. Okay, this evening we have our Kettering Orchestra, and following them we will have our Kettering Choir. And just the choir? Yeah. Okay. We have just the choir with us this evening. So without further ado, take it away. Excellent. Great job, guys. Okay, and I know we were aiming for some of our orchestra students, but I see some band students as well. I'm sorry?
There's violins. We've got a violin duo.
Awesome. We are looking forward to it. Excellent job, ladies. And I believe that was Veni Veni Emmanuel. And prior to that, we had from our orchestra, Angels, we have Heard on High. And bringing us in the home stretch, we have some members of our Kettering band. And will you be playing Frosty for us this evening? All right. Outstanding job. Now, I've got a list of students, and I know not all of them can make it here today, but I'm going to have to put you on the spot. And just so we can make sure we get the recognition to the right students, could you guys share your name and what grade you're in?
I'll start, I guess.
Okay.
I'm Alex Castillo, I'm a senior.
I'm Bailey McLean, I'm a junior. I'm Oliver, I'm a sophomore.
I'm Zoe Oxenrender, and I'm a junior.
Okay, we got our choir in the back.
I'm Mateo Santiago, and I'm a senior.
I'm James Charlo, I'm a senior as well.
Okay, we may have had a few sneak out. All right, no, one more.
I'm Rebecca Catanzaro, I'm a senior.
Okay. We got one more.
Is that Riley Zimmer?
I'm Riley, and I'm a senior.
All right, excellent job tonight, guys.
Wait, don't leave yet, don't leave yet.
So thank you for having us,
Yeah. Oh, you bet, guys. You're welcome.
We just wanted a chance to tell you. I know a couple of the singers already left, and I'm so glad that you guys stayed. We just want to tell you how amazing you are and how proud you make the entire district. Your parents, I know, that either got you here or all throughout your educational careers have gotten you to your lessons so that you could learn to play like that, to sing like that. It is unbelievable what joy you bring to all of us and how proud we are of you. And we just want to thank you so much for sharing all of that Christmas joy with all of us today. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you to your parents who came with you or who got you to all your lessons, and to the staff members who made these opportunities, available to you, and therefore to all of us to be able to be the benefactors of all of that amazing talent. So thank you so much.
It was funny, I think Mateo here is singing something like Luther Vandross with his hands in his pockets. I mean, it made it look easy. It's amazing. All right, colleagues, anyone have any comments? I know they're probably off to parties and everything else here, but I want to give our colleagues, if anyone has anything they want to say before we move on. Nope.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, even though they're leaving, it was great to see them. And notice a lot of them must be friends with their parents on Facebook, because a lot of them look very familiar. So.
All right. So at this time, colleagues, we're going to move on to our recognition of the amazing Waterford Senior Center. So at this time, I'd like to invite Erin Asdale, our Senior Center Coordinator, Danielle Fidler, Auxiliary Services Director, to join Member Sutherland down at the podium, please. So while they're making their way down to the podium, 2023 marked the Golden Jubilee year for the Waterford Senior Center and the Waterford School District. And tonight we continue to celebrate more than 50 years of dedicated service that the Waterford Senior Center has provided to our community. Waterford seniors enjoy a wide variety of offerings from the Senior Center, including recreational activities and human service programs, including Meals on Wheels, which provides hot, nutritious, delicious meals to Waterford's homebound seniors. Beginning in January, the Waterford Senior Center will merge with the Waterford Parks and Recreation Department. And these amazing teams will join forces to continue providing essential senior programs, events, and services for Waterford Township. And as we transition, the Board of Education extends our sincere gratitude and admiration for the work you do and the difference you've made in our community. We thank every staff member, volunteer, community partner, and contributor who supports the efforts of the Waterford Senior Center. And we are pleased to further recognize Erin Asdale, our Senior Center Coordinator, and Danielle Fidler, Auxiliary Services Director, for ensuring Waterford seniors are inspired, educated, and empowered to thrive. So thank you both.
We could never do enough. And thank you, our sincere, as Dr. Ristich said, our sincere gratitude for the amazing work you do. It makes Waterford an amazing place to live, whether you're a student or a senior, all the way through. A great place to live and thrive. So thank you for your tremendous contributions to our senior community and to our community as a whole. Thank you.
Ms. Asdale?
Thank you. Thank you to the board. It's been 28 years that I've worked for Waterford School District. It's been an absolute privilege, and I'm part of the community and will continue. So if any of you have senior needs, do call. We're still in the lovely Leggett building for a few years. And I will be retiring from the school district and working for the township. So it'll be a little bit different, but wonderful. Thank you all so much. And really, it has been a privilege. Danielle, do you have something you want to say?
I would just say ditto, everything she just said.
And our team continues. So we really do count on all of our school district friends to, stay in touch and to call us if they need anything for older adults in Waterford.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Stay there just for a second. You have another acknowledgement.
Oh, dear.
Sorry.
Oh, my.
This is from the community, the school board, and the President of the United States. The letter reads, "The American story depends not on one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us. I congratulate you on taking a part and contributing to the public good, and I am proud to present you with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Through our country's history, the American story has been a struggle of showing how we compare optimism and what we do for resilience and turning that vision into reality. And the Senior Center is that with the help of the school district. By sharing your time and your passion, you are helping discover and deliver solutions in the challenges that we face. Solutions that we now need more than ever. We live in a moment that calls for hope, light, and love. Hope for the future, light to see the future, and to love one another. Through your service, you have provided all three. In behalf of the American people, I extend my heartfelt appreciation for all you do and encourage you to continue the call of service. Our country is counting on you." Erin, yours has a little bit more on it than Danielle's. And thank you to the school board because they helped me set this up.
Wow.
And this is a coin, just like our own military, you have your own challenge coin. Thank you for what you do. Our senior center is a great treasure that we've had. And thank you to the school district for what you've done, because without this, we would never be where we are today in Waterford. Thank you.
Well, I think Ms. McGregor has moved us on to public comment, but colleagues, I wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to congratulate our senior center coordinator, Ms. Asdale, and Danielle Fiddler before they take off. Colleagues?
Go ahead.
I just want to thank Erin for the years of service that she's put in. I haven't been over there in quite a while. I used to stop by there and do some fundraisers, and she was just always there. The time, the dedication, good people. Thank you.
Member Torres?
Again, I just want to reiterate that all the work that Erin does and the group over there, I've had the opportunity to go to the senior center, walk through, see all the activities that are happening and how good it is for the community. So thank you for all you do. Well-deserved, Erin, and we appreciate your service to the Waterford School District and to our community. Thank you.
And we're excited to see what you do next with the new teammates in the Waterford Parks and Recreation Department. We're so excited. We're so excited. Congratulations and thank you. Okay, we're going to move on now or continue public comment here. Let's bring up, please. We are on public comments on, these are non-action items. So we're going to move on to public comments on action items. Is there anyone who would like to address the board this evening on things we will be voting on? Okay, excellent. Colleagues, consent agenda. Unless there are objections, tonight's consent agenda is approved as presented. Okay. Let's move on now to some information items this evening. Let's welcome up Assistant Superintendent Alka for a conversation around district controls.
Thank you very much. As we start in the information items, we are first talking about district controls. And I know a lot of times we talk about controls, you're probably thinking the audit. No, this has nothing to do with that. This has to do with HVAC controls. So HVAC is our heating, air conditioning, and ventilation systems in the district. So we have controls that allow us to talk to all of the equipment in the district so that we know how it's doing, what it's doing, and to affect it as necessary. So we had an assessment done by our control vendor, which is Metro Controls, to look into our systems district-wide, because we were starting to replace some, so we really wanted to take a look at the other buildings. And what you'll see is that we did a FAQ to sort of give you a little bit more depth on what we were talking about. But basically, we found that we have to upgrade them basically in all of our buildings. We have new HVAC equipment everywhere. We're having a hard time communicating with that. And when we can't communicate with it, unfortunately, then we start having problems. So this is really an opportunity not just to control it, but to be able to do it remotely. So basically, when you have Sid at home, Sid can be looking at it and already know a problem and diagnose it without hopefully coming in. But this is a way for us to know how the buildings are doing before we get feedback from the people in the buildings. So that's the first part of the district-wide controls. The second part is we have fume hoods that are in our science rooms at the high schools, and they help to get all the toxic fumes and things that come from their experiments and get them exhausted. As part of what we've been doing with the HVAC controls is that we've been moving them over from pneumatic to electrical controls in the high schools. The fume hoods were based on controls that had pneumatic systems, so we need to upgrade that so that those systems can be working again. So that's part of the entire bid. You had the bid tab that we had. As expected, we only have one vendor. When we do these, when we start these programs, and controls have been in place for a couple decades now at least, we know when we go for the first bid, that's probably who we're going to want for the whole district. So we take a lot of time with that first bid to make sure that we're happy with it. And then we continue to evaluate them. We've been very happy with Metro Controls and the service to us as well as the product. So they're the ones that we are hoping to get a bid from, and we did. The bid is a little bit lower than what we were expecting, so we're also very happy about that. And we'll ask for action at the next board meeting. Are there any questions about this?
Colleagues, questions?
This is who we use, this is who we have the majority of our controls with right now?
Correct. They actually are our control vendor, but a lot of our, the panels are old, so they need to be upgraded.
But they're their panels presumably. that we've been
Correct.
using them.
Correct.
Colleagues, other questions here? Okay.
And I
Excellent.
apologize. Did I introduce Carla Ramirez, who you should be very familiar with?
No, we know Carla.
Sorry.
We know Carla. Hi, Carla.
Right into it.
Welcome. All right, let's, if there are no more questions, no further questions, let's move on to a Pierce remodel and field replacement, please.
Okay, so we are combining the next two things into one PowerPoint to sort of talk about it. The info items are separate from each one, and you have the bid tabs for each, and we'll talk a little bit about it. But we just wanted to talk about and show you a few pictures, or at least one picture of what we all care about. Let's be honest, the turf field and the track. So we'll show you what that'll look like. So basically, when we talk about Pierce Middle School, we have the auxiliary gym, so we're going to replace the floor, and this is not going to be one where we're replacing the floor with a new wood floor. We're actually replacing it with a floor that's similar to what we put in at the elementaries. And so because that's not being used as a competitive gym, we don't need to have the wood floor for that. And we're actually able to put it over the existing floor, which is even more of an advantage because it saves us even more money. So We're also going to be doing some paint in there. We're going to replace the basketball blackboards, and we're going to add windows for natural light. I think if you've been in that gym, that'd be very helpful. So, with the competitive gyms, we're looking at either to replace or refinish floors. I'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about the bids. And then we're going to be checking and moving the backboard, so we're trying to get 2 half courts in there. So we have, thanks to French Associates, who is our architect, he has come up with a way that we are able to do that. He had to work a little bit on that, so I always like to give him a challenge every once in a while. And then we're replacing the bleachers in there. I think that is a no-brainer to anybody that knows it, so yes, they're getting replaced. We also are taking the existing stage space and we are leveling it down to the gym floor level. It won't, because of the way it is, it's not going to be quote-unquote part of the gym, but it'll be refinished so it's usable space for the gym teacher and for other athletic needs. We're also going to replace the ceiling in the main entrance corridor. We currently have that wave ceiling, which has just not given us the aesthetic that we really wanted when we put it in. So we are going to flatten it. That means that we're going to have some new ceilings. We're going to have paint. We're going to just be able to refresh that area and make it look a little bit more modern. The exterior, that's all the site work. We're going to replace the running track, which we had not planned on doing, but the condition of it really makes sense. We're also able to expand it to from 36 inches to 42 to make it more competitive. This was at the suggestion of Allison Sartorius, our athletic director, and we were able to figure out that, again, giving our architect a little bit of a challenge, we were able to do it within the space. So we're pretty excited about having a little bit more space for track meets. We're going to have a new synthetic turf that's filled, and then goalposts. And I apologize, Julie, we are going with the artificial turf.
I saw that. Why did we decide on that?
John Keglovich had a lot of very good ideas about which turf to go with, and he recommended the artificial turf based on a variety of different things. I'll get that information for you. It was a little bit more in depth, but he convinced me that this was better, and I'm all for natural turf. I am all over that, but he convinced me that this would be a good fit for this field.
I mean, it's not like it's going to matter because I won't be here to vote on it. However, I just don't like everything I've read. I just don't like synthetic turf for injuries and knees and everything else. And I think that kids, when they're growing up and they're in junior high school, I mean, your growth plates are still like actively moving. And yeah, I just personally do not feel that it's a good idea. But
and John did.
That's just my opinion.
John did address that, and I think that the artificial fields are a little bit different when they used to be. So he did address that. I'll get that for you, so you can take a look at it, because he's slowly convinced me, because, you know, I'm a big sports fan. So the NFL, they go back and forth. I'm always looking, where's the injuries, where's the better playing field, and it goes back and forth. So even in the NFL, I don't think there's a one consensus on that. So, you know, we did have several conversations that he had to actually convince me that this is going to be what was best, and he did. So, so yes, I am working on the experience of John, and I agree. I was not convinced, and he convinced me. So I am very comfortable getting you that information so that you can also be comfortable with it. So I know even if you're not voting on it, you should still be comfortable. So we'll go.
It's fine. I just thought you snuck that because I'm sitting here and I'm like, didn't we already have this conversation about the turf? So
we did.
Thank you for reminding me that we did. So
we did.
Okay.
Yes. So. So in addition to the new turf, we're also going to replace the scoreboard. We're going to adjust and replace the fence lines. We're adding, if you've ever used the visitor bleachers, you know there's not really good walkway. We're going to have that. There's a few other things that we're doing with the track and field. So it's going to be a really nice place. Even the press box is going to be updated. So it's going to look really nice. So.
Couple of questions.
Yes.
With the auxiliary gym, replacing the floor, you kind of piqued my interest, because if you're going to be putting the new, let's call it composite floor, over top of the current wood floor, correct? Is it a wood floor?
It's rubber.
No, it's
rubber.
It's rubber. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it didn't have a real wood floor.
All right, okay, that answers that question. And then with the running track, expanding from 36-inch lanes to 42-inch lanes, are we still keeping it as an 8-lane track, or is that going down to a 6-lane track? Because that makes a big difference in
I'll have to ask, because I can't
competitions.
remember. I think the idea was to keep 8.
Okay.
That's why we had to actually widen the area.
So you are widening, okay, I thought you were on the same footprint.
No. it's
Oh,
gonna be-
okay.
We're actually widening it, and that's why this was a challenge for Dan, because
Okay.
we didn't want to go past where we basically have the fencing and
Right.
everything. So he had to push everything out a little bit to get to that. So that's
Understood.
why I think it's the
Okay.
8 lanes.
And then last question is this is going to be beautiful when it's all done. The outside is absolutely, are we locking it, or is it still going to be open to the community to use the track and everything else while or did I just pull a pin and throw a grenade? Because it's something that's going to have to be talked about. If we're going to have brand-new facilities, is the community going to be able to use that track, whether it be as a walking track or the kids out there playing soccer at 10 o'clock at night, which we've seen out there currently? Just something that needs to be addressed.
We'll check on the field. I do believe that the track, like many of the other facilities we have, would be open to the community when they're not in use by our athletes. The track, the turf, I know that that's come up because we were already talking about movie Lollapalooza that's coming in June, and we will not be able to use that.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we're doing construction, so we wouldn't be able to use it anyways, but we wouldn't recommend using any of the way they set up the
Right.
stuff. So we're trying to, well, I think we have a new home, but we'll announce that later, but we won't be able to use it for that.
Okay.
So there will be some things we just won't be able to use it for that we are using it for right now.
Understood. Thank you.
Member Wagner?
Yes.
With the expansion of the track and making it, the lanes wider and longer, is the goal then to start having the middle school competitions at the middle schools? Because currently, we've been using the high school tracks for all of our track meets, at least for the last 5 or 6 years. So is that what we're hoping to do, is move them back?
It would
to the-
allow us to be able to
To be able to do that?
yes.
Okay. Which would be nice, to not have to bus the kids to either.
Exactly.
Either of the two high
Right.
schools.
And the one last thing, which isn't on here, is that we did put in for an actual finish like we have at the high schools on the track at Pierce and Mason, excuse me. We have a picture of what that looks like, but it will be a black finish on both of them. And we've already been assured that Mason, because we did the track last year, it just goes over the asphalt. But this will be another thing that will make the tracks look a lot nicer and be able to be better for our students.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
Question.
Yeah.
The stage over at Pierce, then, so you're going to take out, you said the stage, correct? And that's going to be just flat space?
yes, because the stage is not really being used right now, the request was to go ahead and get rid of the stage, and by actually reducing it down to the same level as the gym, it becomes more usable space. Right now, with it being up, they've been using it, but it hasn't been used efficiently, and by bringing it down, it will be, we're hoping that they'll be able to find some good uses for it, base it on PE or different things like that. We had to do some little tweaks inside, but nothing major. And it does sort of add another easy egress out of there because we have a door that goes into the corridor behind from that space. So, if you're coming out of the gym, now you have another door that you can exit the area from.
Yes, I'm just thinking about it, because, when I think of the gym over there at Pierce, and, when they do the talent shows and those kinds of things, the kids are up on the stage, but I can't think of the other purposes that it's really used for, but this is going to open up that space more. So is that like a trend or something that's happening with it, or is it just something that we decided to do?
That's been a request from most of our principals. They aren't using the stage the same way they were at some of the buildings, so they've asked if that's a possibility. It isn't always a possibility because of the cost, but in this case, it was not a problem. So it was at the request of the principal.
And this synthetic turf that Julie was talking about, don't we have that at the high schools? Do we have that at the high schools?
I want to say yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right, so this would be the same as what we're going to have at the high school. So the
Right.
kids would be using it, and then when they go to high school, they'll be on it again, so.
Right.
All right, thank you.
So,
Member Sutherland?
oh, yeah.
I just wondered about the timeline relative to this work being done. Has that been established?
Yes. Yes. So we're getting this done during the summer of 2025, but we will be starting Pierce a little bit earlier. We'll be able to do some of the work with the gym earlier on that. And then with Mason, it'll go into the fall. So the reason for that is Mason has asbestos that we have to abate in the gyms. Pierce does not. So it does allow us to do that. Is it? Sorry.
I was going to say, Mason's more new, that's
Sorry.
fascinating, but, yeah, no problem.
And a lot of it's so similar that it's like trying to keep it straight, so
Sure,
yes.
sure, no.
So-
The inside at Pierce, we're starting June, and then we're going into, till the end of October. But the track, we are starting at spring break, and then that will be turned over probably the end of October. It's going to take a good 6 months at least to do that track.
And you can take advantage of good
And
weather,
Mason,
hopefully.
we're going to start that gym early, but then turn it over for start of school.
Okay, thank you so much.
Member Patricia?
On the turf, do we have a kind of an estimated ballpark, what we think it's going to cost for the field?
So the bid documents have some of that information in it. What we found when I went through it is for Mason, we're basically on budget. For Pierce, we're over budget, and most of it has to do with the fact that we added turf to the, not turf, excuse me, the track to the budget. But we're working through that right now because we really should replace the track. So we are finding money within the budget for the building to do that.
Are we putting turf at both Pierce and Mason?
So we're doing the covering for the turf, we are doing the covering for the track at both middle schools. Mason's track was done last year, so we're just basically doing the cover for it. It's basically, it's new, but we'll be doing both of that for Pierce.
The cover, you mean the actual, like a football field or soccer field?
No, it's
looking
whatever
for
we
the-
call that last little bit.
That synthetic, so
Yeah.
the track is, it's going to have a coating, a synthetic coating.
Right, on the track, but I'm looking for the actual football field that has the turf.
Are we doing that?
Mason doesn't have a field right now,
No, they do not.
so they're not getting a turf field.
No.
Okay, that's what
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay, I didn't know about that one, and again, I like grass. When my boys played ball, they preferred the grass. The little rubber beads get all over you, and they didn't care for it. When they played lacrosse on the grass, again, it wasn't as cool as the turf. You couldn't run and scoop up the ball, but it's more natural. It's grass. I can see who fell down and who played. I'm a big proponent of grass instead of the turf, so I'll be there for you, Julie.
Where will the kids, so if Pierce goes into October, so where would the kids play football at? That coincides.
Madison has them moving
Yeah,
over
we've
to
worked-
Kettering, and then she's also having them use the field.
Yeah, we've worked with Allison on all of the timing for this, along with the principals. They're really the ones telling us if we can do this and how we can do it. We knew that we would probably be needing a little bit of extra time, so that was part of the whole process when we put the bid together.
So they'll be going to Kettering then to play, or?
I know she said Kettering.
She's working out the
Yeah,
logistics.
she's working out it, yes.
Using some of the
Yeah, because
field
they'll have to
area.
practice there too, I believe, right? Is there a practice field over there?
Yeah.
So they would have to be transported to practice too, but if it's at Kettering, it's just across the street, so.
Yeah.
We can get the details.
Yeah,
for
we
you.
can certainly share the details. I'm sure Allison, like I said, we've already worked out a lot of this simply because we wouldn't be doing the scope if we couldn't get the space available.
Yeah, I'm just thinking when parents start asking and saying, where are the kids going to practice, it sounds beautiful, so just the logistics of knowing that. Thank you.
And just one more. And I'm just concerned because the high schools, we've built them up and they are so nice. And there's nothing wrong with sharing them with the middle schools. Do the middle schools do we have to invest this much money into making these schools that have less kids to do all this? When we have when Pierce and Kettering are so close together, you walk down the road and you can use the track, you can use the ball fields. Is this really how we want to spend the money? Is this what we want to do?
This is part of the way the bond was sold to our
Okay.
community, and this was listed. This was not, I would say that the track replacement at Pierce was an addition, but it would not be good to replace the turf and not replace the track. So that is a little bit earlier than what we
They
had.
come hand in hand. Again, you can't do one without
Exactly,
the other. I understand.
exactly. But we are still following the blueprint that was set out with the bond when the community approved it.
Okay,
So
yep.
you have the PowerPoint. It has some extra detail on both of them. There's the picture I wanted to show you. That would be what the field will look like at Pierce when it's done. You can see the track around it is black, and we went with that because it is a neutral, nobody's colors. Because this field occasionally is used by other districts, we decided to use Waterford instead of Pierce, so that it helps with when people see it in pictures and stuff, they'll see the name Waterford on it. We also went with gray. When we started the bond project, we were finding that some of the equipment we needed with the high school, we were having a hard time finding green or blue. And so we, at that time, said, okay, then we'll make gray sort of our third color, so that some of the things that we had at both buildings were gray, so that we wouldn't have Kettering, say, getting a green mats and, Mott not being able to get blue. We just could not do it. So we incorporated the gray into here, again, to be more neutral and to be able to show off the district. That's why we have the district logo in the middle as well.
Ms. Hulk, if you could send that PowerPoint, I don't think we have it.
Okay.
That would be great.
Yep, sorry about that. But yes, so it does just show you a little bit of what we're doing at the interior and what spaces are being done at each of the schools, so you'll be able to see that.
Okay, thank you. So we're moving on now to our Mason remodel, please.
So, go back, sorry. So Mason Middle School has a little less work simply because we're not doing as much of the outside work. So in the media center, we're basically doing the teacher's lounge, which is right next to it. We're replacing the floor there, getting new furniture for it, and then we're doing some HVAC upgrades for that to make that a little bit better. We also, in the main gym, we're adding flooring to the mezzanine, which is the upper level. Right now, it is concrete. We're actually adding more of a textured floor, so it's not wood, but it's a little bit more of a resilient flooring up there, so the students can use it up there. For the main gym, we're looking at replace or refinish, and we're going to restripe the floor. We're adjusting the main court length. We're replacing the home side bleachers and replacing lighting. And then in the student common area where we have the pictures for Washington DC, we're actually adding a little bit of a student space there so that they can use it and have another learning space for them. So that'll be, the flooring will be redone in such a way that you'll be able to see it and be able to use it, but that corner will become a little space for students or for teachers who want a little bit more of a experience outside the classroom. So that is the basic things being done over there.
Colleagues, questions for Ms. Elka around the Mason remodel, please? Do you have a slide for the timeline for Mason as well?
I mean, basically, we're just doing summer. We can give more specific ones, so you can tell we've been working on this in the last month to make sure that we can get this all done in one summer. But yes, the anticipation that we have all the dates, we can share that with you. But basically, this is our summer work for summer.
So all of this can be completed in the summer except for the main gym that has to go into that's what we're starting early and then turning over.
So we're gonna, it sounds like there's some sort of finish work on the track? Is that what you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, so right now at Mason, we just have an asphalt track.
Yeah.
And at the high schools, we have that nice finish on the track. So when we were talking about it, and Allison asked, because she wanted something, she said, can we do something like that for Pierce, which would make it better for competitions? So of course, we wouldn't want to do anything at Pierce we didn't do at Mason. So we put that in the bid to get it done at Mason, so that they'll both have a really nice finish that is similar to what we have at the high school.
Dr. Sutherland?
I think you indicated that this particular project would be over budget.
So Mason is basically on budget for what we're doing, but Pierce is over budget.
Pierce is over budget.
Yes. So what we'll do is we'll reallocate it, but we'll talk about that before we get to the approval process, because I'm going to talk to the principals and make sure that they understand if I'm taking money from one pot, that they understand what that means and that they're above board. If not, then we'll talk to Darren and we'll have a discussion about where we want to reallocate it, because we do have a few pots that we can reallocate.
General fund?
No, gosh, no, within
Still
the bond.
bond.
Within the bond.
Right, okay.
Yes, no.
I don't, it might be helpful for new board members to kind of know, I don't even know where we're at. I know these are all 2020 bonds that we've closed out all the previous bond monies and that we're working on that. And
Correct.
we've had some very significant expenses, but I know it was also a $150 million bond, so a lot of money to work with,
Correct.
thankfully. So I think it might be really helpful to kind of show a checkbook balance on where we're at least a summarized
Correct.
thing, because being over budget on one thing means there's something else we're not going to be able to do,
Right.
that kind of thing. So.
Right. So I have no problem January doing a bond update like we've done in the last, usually about twice a year. We've done some kind of bond update, and we can certainly do that one. We still have adequate funds in the Series 2 right now, and we are still looking at probably 26, 27 for Series 3 to be done. So we're doing pretty good. We are actually, I think normally we'd be at 55% of the bond done, and we're at 88% of the construction done. So we are a little bit ahead of where we thought we'd be, and part of that is we pulled some things forward, like the elementary playgrounds, but part of it is just we've had the opportunity to do some work earlier. So we got a slow start because of COVID, but we've been able to really start moving after that.
There's just been some great work that's been done. I'm more cognizant of what it must feel like to be a new board member, and these are very big, for your first board meeting approvals that they'll be asked to do. So just having a little bit of context might be really helpful for the conversation. Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, let's move on now to our food services contract with the Waterford Township Senior Center. Thank you, Carla.
So I have Jeremy Moats, who is our attorney, to join me on this one. As indicated in the information item, we have, at the township's request, created a contract with them for food service. We never needed this because it was considered in-house. So our food service department provided staff and food. The senior center provided the equipment, the kitchen, and the space to prepare the food, which we went ahead and served for the congregate meals and for the Meals on Wheels. So Jeremy and the attorney from the township worked out this contract. Basically, it's the same thing we're doing now. We get paid on a per meal basis to cover our expenses, and the idea is that it covers our expenses and maybe a little bit over, but the intent was not to make a lot of money from it, nor was it to penalize the district for giving the service to the township.
Colleagues, we do have that contract in front of us. Colleagues, comments, questions?
Is this a cost-neutral contract for us?
Yeah, the idea is, and this is what we've always done, is the per meal price always covers our expenses. So the idea is not to make a lot of money from this, but to make sure we always cover our expenses. Danielle has always been really good about this. It's never been a problem. So we're basically just codifying what we've done for years with them. So nothing really changed other than putting it in writing so the township knows what the expectations are.
And does the township have to approve this as well?
Yes.
And they have not yet?
They've already approved it.
Okay, sorry, you probably said that, I was reading.
No,
You
we
didn't?
had not
Okay.
mentioned that yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
They
you.
approved it at their last township meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So we're asking for action January 16th. We did talk to make sure that if we continue this service, that it's not a problem if we don't technically have a contract for those 2 weeks until the board approves it. Jeremy indicated that it was okay.
Colleagues, other comments or questions on our contract in front of us?
If we have questions later, like after going through it a little bit more, can we just reach out?
Definitely, yes.
What is an Oliver seal machine?
It's a machine that when you're doing, you can seal the food in a certain way to keep it fresh. and it's called an Oliver. It's, as you can imagine, copyrighted and everything. It's an expensive machine, but it does a really good job, so it is really one of those things that is industry standard. So a few years ago, Danielle was through the grant, was able to get it, and you still have to use the containers and buy it from them, but it's great, and that's why we continued it. It's during COVID especially is when a lot of this came around, when we needed to have those shelf-stable packages that would not rupture or otherwise fall apart.
Thank you. Member Sutherland.
I'm assuming that this occurred, and I'm just going to say it out loud, but the liability to the district for anything that, please let it never happen, but if there were an injury to occur during that food service process, anything like that, does the district accept responsibility for that, or is that the township, or how does that, in this contract?
The employees that still service the food, they're still the school district employees, so they would still continue in that function. This now you're providing the service to the township instead of providing the service to, the district's own senior center. So,
But they work in a different building. They work in a building that does not belong to
yeah,
the...
so we have the permission to operate in that building. So if it's something that's caused by the building that would be the township's doing, then there's the township's responsible for things that they cause. If it's the school district's cause, it's sort of you're responsible for things that you cause. So
Okay.
we've left it very neutral in that way.
Okay. Including liability?
Yes.
Thank you.
I would assume it would be a workman's comp. It would be, because they're our employees, so it would be under our,
Yeah, but there could be other liability, but
Okay.
a general
Right.
injury to an employee would be under workers'
Okay.
comp, but there could be something else of a building issue that they didn't take care of.
okay.
Alex, any other questions? Okay. Jeremy, thank you. Okay, we are now going to move on to our TA with our Waterford Association of School Administrators. Welcome up to the table, Mrs. Susan Fire.
Good evening, board members. Before you is the agreement that was ratified by the WASA membership for the approval, or seeking, and this is the approval, the information and of the new contract for the 24-25 school year. No, it's the exact one that was provided.
That we saw.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
yes,
another
yes,
one. Okay,
yes.
right. But if you have questions, I
Yes.
do have a copy right here.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Right.
Totally get it.
Colleagues, comments or questions? Okay, excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, we're going to move on now to new business, please. Secretary Torres, you are up.
Superintendent's recommendation, 36-24-25, sale of the Hermana Road property. It is recommended that the board approved the attached purchase agreement to sell the district's Hermana Road vacant property to PH Homes, Inc. in the amount of $675,000. It is also recommended that the board approved the interim superintendent to sign the agreement. I so move.
Support.
Thank you, colleagues. Motion has been moved and supported. Comments or questions, please? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. The motion carries 7-0. Secretary Torres?
Superintendent's recommendation, 37-24-25, administrative appointment. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following administrative appointment. Hedelbrandt Karen, Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations, location Query Administration Building, 100% administrative contract, effective January 20th, 2024. I so move.
Support. Thank you, colleagues. The motion has been moved and supported.
Should it be 25?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I reread that?
Yeah.
With the, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Yeah, go ahead and reread it.
Okay, just, we amended that at this moment, so it is Superintendent's Recommendation 37-24-25 Administrative Appointment. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the following administrative appointment. Hildebrandt Karen, Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations, Location Query Building, 100% administrative contract, effective date January 20th, 2025. I so move.
Support.
Support. Thank you so much. Motion's been moved and supported. Comments or questions, please? Very good. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. The motion carries 7-0. All right.
Welcome. I'm
Yes,
assuming that's
welcome.
you
Yes.
there.
Oh,
Yes. Oh, I was going to ask.
I was like, are we
welcome.
coming up?
So I'll turn it over to Mrs. Susan File to welcome Ms. Hildebrandt.
So thank you again. We are very excited to bring forth this recommendation to you this evening for our next Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations for our district. After 3 rounds of interviews with multiple stakeholders, Ms. Karen Hildebrandt was selected as the candidate that best meets Waterford expectations and the standards for this role. Ms. Hildebrandt is currently serving as a Director of Finance of Shared Services in 2 districts for the Genesee Intermediate School District. Previously, she worked for Bloomfield Hills Schools as the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations, Director of Finance, and Executive Manager of Finance for a total of 18 years. With her extensive knowledge and experience, Ms. Hildebrandt brings a passion for financial management in public education to serve and support all students and staff. We thank you.
I thank you so much for this opportunity to serve such a wonderful district. The students and the performances this evening are just a highlight of what Waterford offers, and I'm so just humbled to become a part of this family. So thank you.
Well, welcome. We're so glad you're here, and we're so glad that we'll be working alongside each other in the upcoming years. So welcome. Colleagues?
Welcome aboard.
Yes, welcome aboard. Welcome.
All right. Exciting stuff. All right, Secretary Torres, you're up again.
Superintendent's Recommendation 38-24-25, Waterford Association of School Administrators. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the tentative agreement with the Waterford Association of School Administrators, WASA, as agreed to by its membership on December 19th, 2024, for the 2024-2025 school year. I so move.
Support.
Thank you, colleagues. The motion's been moved and supported. Comments or questions, please? Member Sutherland.
I would like to say thank you, Ms. File, and the administrative staff, and everybody that helped to get a contract in place that is a meaningful, substantive contract. It is better for our employees. It is better for the school district. It is a way that we can ensure that we are not disappointing and that we're meeting our end of the agreement. I know that we have not had a strong contract in place. Some of the verbiage was a little bit dicey, and I know it caused some difficult issues for some of our employees and for the district. And so to have taken the time to really work through that, I know it was not easy, and I appreciate the hard work that went into that, and I appreciate all of our WASA employees who were patient with us as we did that and have since ratified this. So very, very good work, and really happy to have that buttoned down, and I think it's really good for everyone. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Sutherland. Any other comments or questions here? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Treasurer Donahue.
Superintendent's Recommendation 39-24-25, Waterford Kettering Fire Alarm Bid. It is recommended that the board approve the award of bid for the replacement of the fire alarm system at Waterford Kettering High School to Gemini Electric Company Incorporated in the amount of $687,117. Funds for this project will come from the 2020 bond. I so move.
Support.
Thank you. Motion's been moved and supported. Any comments or questions regarding the contract award for the Kettering fire alarm? Member Patricia, please.
Have we used this company before?
Not in Waterford, but they're in several, they've been working with Barton for several years. They're in Utica School District, Romeo, Anchor Bay, Redford.
Was this a budget, was this something we planned on during our budget? This is another one that's coming out of another pot again.
Yes, this is something we did not plan on doing, but because of this, the amount of issues we were having due to construction, we needed to have an assessment done. The assessment recommended replacing it. So basically, we have extra funds in the roofing budget to be able to do this and fit this in. This is less than what we had expected, which is making us very happy as well. But yes, we have adequate money in our roof budget to go ahead and include this as part of that.
Okay, thank you.
Colleagues, other comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Carla? Thank you, Sandy. All right, we are on to some recognition for two amazing individuals and two amazing board members. You may or may not know, this is the last and final meeting for Miss Julie Joslin and Miss Joan Sutherland, believe it or not. I know we're going to get a chance here to sing their praises a little bit more individually here. But we have a couple things here. And you will have to indulge me in a few minutes because Julie and Joan are amazing. So I want to offer a couple comments on their shared service. Because my time getting to know them and working with them, I've found that they share an approach. I'm going to talk a little bit about that approach. And that approach has made them sharp thinkers, exceptional colleagues, and responsible and progressive stewards of this Waterford School District Board of Education. So those of you who don't know, in my day job, I teach about and research rhetorical theory and the rhetoric of philosophy at the best university in the state. Yep.
UM, right?
Hey. We're talking about Joan and Julie right now. And in thinking about what I might say tonight about my two dear friends, I was reminded about something that Friedrich Nietzsche said, who's a well-known 19th century German philosopher, I'm sure everyone's familiar with.
Well known, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And he writes, I am well disposed towards those things which goad me to do something and do it again, from morning till evening, and then to dream of it at night and to think of nothing except doing this well as I alone can do it. And when one lives like that, he continues, one thing after another that simply does not belong to such a life, it drops off. And so what Nietzsche means here is that always sort of deliberating about right, wrong, good, bad, well, that often defeats, it hinders, it slows, it stalls getting things done. And in serving on this board, Joan and Julie have always remained focused on doing and getting things done. And in fact, when working with 7 people up here and a talented group of teachers, staff, administrators, students, all in order to remain, and to use a phrase that Joan is well known for, remaining laser focused on our foundational and fundamental goals of providing our students and with an exceptional experience, it's what we should do. And they have done this well. Joe and Julie have made sure during their time on the board, and especially during these last 5 years, that we've been focused on doing and doing it again and doing it well. And for those who monitor our work or have to work to turn goals and policies into student learning, they know we've been busy doing. And we have evidence, too, that Joan and Julie's focus on getting things done is paying off. Again, we can look at our growth scores as evidence. And while, again, we can have debates about metrics, it is a metric nonetheless. And it says that always moving forward, doing, being active, the good work, and Nietzsche said, not looking sideward, backward, or downward, well, doing it works. And in this way, they're leaving here tonight, which I hope does lead to some celebrations this evening, is a reminder to us to continue doing, working, moving forward above all else. We're in a good place here in the Waterford School District in large part thanks to Julie and Joan. And we're going to do our best to continue that work because Julie has promised that she would be at the podium if we didn't. And I'll take her at her word. So I'll just close by saying thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of our colleagues' hearts. We're going to miss you. And don't be a stranger, even if it means coming to the podium. So thank you. Colleagues, I want to make sure you get a chance too. Member Torres, please.
So I've had the opportunity to get to know Joan and Julie, quite well over the years. And I'll start with Julie. I first met Julie when we were working together and she was advocating. I was already on the school board and she was advocating for students. And I met her at a bowling alley, of all places. She wanted to have a meeting, and a couple of parents came, and I showed up. And I got to know her, and she was an advocate, and she was passionate. She came to the school board meeting, and she spoke up in public comment. And she was nervous. This was a different Julie than it is now. This Julie was nervous to say something. I had to push her to get up there and speak her voice. And she went to that meeting, and she spoke her mind. And then she came back later and said, I wrote a letter to the superintendent, and I told him I'm running for school board. And she came back, and she ran for school board. She followed through on her promise, and she won. And when she got on the board, I was excited to have her and to hear her voice. But when she got on the board, I started nudging her again. I said, Julie, you got to speak up at the board meetings. You're saying all these things behind the scenes, but you got to say something. And I ended up leaving the board for a couple of years. And when I came back, it was this whole other Julie. It was like, man, already passionate, but just vocal. And I said, Julie, what happened? And she says, well, you left me to fend for myself on the board. But Julie we've been through a lot together over the years, through the superintendent searches, her advocacy, her push for her kids in the school district, for all the other kids, that STEM program, and her really pushing on that and making it the best that it could be. And without her, I don't think the Waterford School District would be, the bright, shining, thing that it is now. So I'm very appreciative of Julie and have just appreciated serving with her over the years. For Joan, Joan is an advocate as well. She's passionate. She's a fighter, man. Just like Julie, and Joan is. I've had my battles with you, Joan, over the years. We've had our battles, and you've made me better. You made me have to really dig deep and argue and prepare, and knowing that I was going to have to face you in a board meeting. But I appreciate it, and I've always appreciated, your passion, your sharpness, your fiscal responsibility, and eye on that dollar, and really explaining it to the rest of us in more layman's terms. And overall, just your love for Waterford. You can see that, and that you started out at a PTO and then moved your way up and got into the school board and have served for so many years. So again, thank you for your service, both of you, and stay in touch, and it's gonna be weird. I think I'm the only one here on this board that's actually left the board and then for a few years and then came back. So I've had that feeling of leaving the school board, and it is a weird feeling. So it's in many ways sad, but you get over it because then you start watching and seeing and knowing what's happened. And I know you're both going to stay active and involved in the school district. But thank you both for your service, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, John Paul. Do you want to go next, Rob? Okay.
I didn't think I'd feel bad about, following John Paul. Now I'm going to be bad about that. You pretty much said it all. It's, Julie, you were always straightforward, you were truthful. You know, we didn't have to agree, but you believed in what you believed. And that's all I asked for. You said you'd do 6 years, you did your 6 years. We tried to get you to stick around some more, you didn't want to, but you took one for the team. And I can't tell how much I appreciate that. You did sometimes things that, well, I don't really like this, but it's what moves us forward. You were able to give and take, and I appreciate that. John Paul said it great. I mean, you've taught me. I've learned things. We've had our battles. I kicked your butt a couple times, but you come back. But it's, again, your beliefs, what you believe in. Just like your beautiful family. The things that you believe, it's just so true. All right, thank you. Me too. Like the kids singing, I just don't like this stuff.
All right, so I have to follow all of you, which is really unfair. I would like to start by saying, oh gosh, it was very close. These are two people who I absolutely adore. I have so much respect for. I am going to miss dearly. It'll be very strange not to look to my right or to my left and have both of you here. I have Julie sometimes always telling me, it's okay. We're going to be okay. There is so much that you two have taught me. Joan and I've known Joan for quite a few years, and we did a lot of the advocacy together in Lansing when we were advocating for funding. And she is very tenacious in making sure that we go after what we deserve. She is a huge, huge advocate for Waterford, huge advocate for this community, a fellow Corsair, so and Julie as well, so they are very close to my heart for that. Us Corsairs have to stick together, I think. Unfortunately, I do have a captain to my right, so. And Julie, I mean, they have all said it. I mean, the one thing you can learn from Julie is you always speak your truth, and you speak your mind, and you hold to what you say, right? You speak your mind. You should never apologize for your convictions and your beliefs. And I think both of them have taught us so much on this board, but the one thing that they both have that I think we all share is a true love for this community, for this district. And you have to have that to be up here, I think, because this is a labor of love. And these two are great, great examples of that, because there's no other reason why you'd want to be up here. Let me tell you at times, but it is a true labor of love. They leave a legacy behind that. These will be very, very difficult shoes to fill, and this has been, I am incredibly proud to have served with both of them. It's been an absolute privilege to be up here, and they are two very strong women, very smart women, and I can't wait to see them also in our audience at our podium, but I can't wait to see what they're going to do next, because as much as Julie says she'll never come back, I can see, maybe not here, but both of them continuing to serve our community in other ways. And I'm excited to see where that road might lead you. So thank you.
Being on the board for 2 years, you know, it's been an interesting experience. But where I first originally met Joan was years and years ago, as I was going to the superintendent interviews for the multiple different superintendents we've had, and to see that the care in Joan, and just the outpouring of care that Joan showed for the love of this district. And as I was at those meetings and I was emailing board members, you know, about, you know, questions or concerns and not even necessarily superintendent searches, but just other things going on, Joan always responded to the emails, was very, and always thanked me for emailing. And that's, you know, one thing that always stood with me throughout the years. And of you know, her responding and taking the time to respond to the emails that came her way. Coming on the board, You know, as a middle school principal and previous high school principal, one thing that Joan did was the questions that she showed of the budget from this point of view opened my eyes to seeing it from a board member point of view, and that was so very helpful, and I so appreciate that, Joan. And always willing to help and explain things. I mentioned we were going to Thailand, and the next day the next meeting, she had some books here for me and everything from her experience and travels to Thailand and how awesome that was, and we are going. Julie. Julie, well, we've known each other for 30 plus years. Part of my wedding party, part of our wedding party, to our kids growing up together, cheering side by side for our boys in lacrosse, to convincing me to run for the school board. I'm not sure if I should be happy about that or not, but we've had our ups and downs. We've been together for 30 plus years in different things, and you helped me learn the ropes coming onto the board, and I so appreciate it. And as the other board members have said, for both of you, two things that just really stood out. You're both passionate, you're advocates for the school district, and thank you for your service.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, I know we have some folks out in the community who'd like to maybe say a thing or two as well. So let's move on now to public comment. And Mary Crate.
Well, Pat, I don't go quite as far back, but I had the pleasure of meeting Julie when I had her son in my class. Both of her twin boys were they were Riverside racers. And the passion that Julie had for not just her own kids, but all the kids at Riverside. You didn't want to mess with her, because if you were a teacher that was not doing what you were supposed to be, she was going to call you out on the carpet, and she did that for every kid all the way through. And as she got onto the school board, I know your fight for the science curriculum and everything, you know, talking biology and making sure that whether you were a Mott kid or a Kettering kid, you all deserve the same. Joan, when I met you, it was the same year you were elected to school board, but it was running the 2008 Waterford Mott grad party, and Joan and I learned how to sling a can of Coke. It's a Coke, it's a nacho, it's a hot dog, let's go. And I was crazy enough to think I could be in charge of the grad party. I wouldn't have been able to do that without Joan by my side. From the coalition to youth, everything that you've done to make such a difference, I just wanted to take time to thank both of you. These are gifts for me.
Oh, Mary, thank you so much. It's so kind of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Ms. McGregor.
Julie, I'll start with you. Watching you, you have a relative in my neighborhood that bragged about you running for school board. And if anybody was going to believe in you, he did. Told us how you were going to make a difference and what you were going to do and why you were going to do it. Every time I've been in this meeting, every one of you have a passion for this district. and I thank all of you for that. Joan, you and I did Optimist together. We had 2008 kids together. Joined the school board together for 6 years and made a difference. Thank you both, because it's the first time we've ever had that I can remember $150 million budget or a bond go through, and there wasn't a lot of hiccups with it. And that's a feat in itself, because Joan, you and I worked on many bonds back in the day with Howard Heisek. So knowing what we have in our district, you both are going to be missed. So thank you. And I expect you to be sitting out here with me too.
Yes, so kind. Thank you so much, Robin. It was very sweet.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
All right, is there anyone else who would like to address the board this evening on non-action items? Yes, please. Yep, welcome up to the podium, please. And as you're making your way up there, I'll read our friendly reminder that our comments are limited to 3 minutes in duration. Members of the public are invited to share comments. However, this is not intended to be a time for questions and answers. And lastly, participants may speak only once on the same topic and are, of course, asked to avoid statements that are personally directed, abusive, or obscene. So, welcome.
Hi. Excuse me, I had pneumonia a few weeks ago. And it made me sound like this. I'm a new resident of Waterford. I recently bought a house in the Drayton Plains neighborhood in August. I have 2 boys that go to Cooley Elementary. They love it there. I have concerns about the item regarding the turf for the middle school. I'm concerned that possibly the people in charge of getting the bid and making the decisions have possibly been oversold on the benefits of artificial turf without doing their due diligence and their own independent research into the issues that can bring. Also, I believe it's an erroneous comparison to say that the NFL has a certain opinion on turf versus grass when we're talking about a middle school. The synthetic turf that the NFL uses is certainly not the same material that would be installed at the middle school. Also, the NFL Players Association has recently, as recently as this year, described synthetic turf as an unsafe working condition, a position that their union says is supported by studies finding turf is associated with higher injury rates. The Players Association Executive Director, Lloyd Howell, stated that a survey found that 92% of NFL players wanted to play on grass. So I think that should be taken into consideration if you're thinking about how NFL players play on turf versus if you think it's the same as middle school players playing on turf. That's all.
Well, thank you so much for being here. If you would, please, we have these green cards up at the front, and that'll give us your contact information. So they're up there right at the front. And if you wouldn't mind, we'd like to grab that from you so that interim superintendent Holly can follow up for a conversation. And thank you so much for being here. And welcome to Waterford. All right, anyone else who'd like to address the board this evening? Okay. Colleagues, Board of Education reports. Who has one tonight? Jocelyn.
Yeah, well, I just want to tell everybody thank you for all of your kind words. It was a long 6 years. I think probably one of the longest in school board history. I mean, I got on the board, everybody was fighting, then the superintendent quit, then he walked out, then we got a new superintendent, then things were going okay, and then COVID hit. So it was a little bit of a mess. But, I ended up here because I had twins, as Mrs. Crate said, and I also had my goddaughter at the house, and they were in 8th grade, and it was, 9 o'clock at night, and they were driving me crazy. And I said, why don't you guys sit down and study together, because your midterms are coming up. And I had 3 kids at 2 middle schools in the same grade, and none of them, the 6th week of school, was studying the same thing. And I said, well, maybe you can cheat, because maybe Mackenzie did something that you didn't do yet, and they were nowhere near what they were doing together. And then they brought home a book that I swear I probably used in 1982. And that's why I sat here. But when they were in Cub Scouts, the one thing that I always repeat to them, and the way that I live my life, is you leave it better than you found it. And I honestly believe that I have left it better than I found it. $4 million that we put into all of this curriculum, and you guys, you did it. I mean, you're still doing it. Believe it or not, in the past 15 years, Waterford hasn't put hardly any money into curriculum. We now have curriculum as a line item in our budget. That means that every single year, we have to invest in something in curriculum for our kids, so that hopefully another kid in this district never has to use a book or a piece of technology that is 10 years old. That is our job, and that's what I was passionate about, and I followed it all the way through to the end. So, although I am happy, I just couldn't stay another term. I tried to do it for these guys, but my heart was not in it. It's tiring. And one thing that I do want to respond to, that we get told, that I've always wanted to respond to 1,000,000 times while sitting here, we get told numerous times that we get paid to be here. We get paid $30 to be here. Whether the meeting is 2 hours or it's a 6-hour COVID meeting, whether I'm in a 6-hour COVID meeting and then spend an hour of my lunch every day for 5 days reading emails, it's still $30. That's all it is. I did it for my kids and for your kids. That's the only reason I did it. So.
Thank you.
All right. Show me.
No, that was so beautiful. And Julie, I'm honored and privileged to serve with you, and you're absolutely right. You saw a need, and you left it better than you found it, and I am forever grateful, but more than that, the students in our district are the benefactors of that. So it's been quite a ride. I am so deeply humbled by the people that came to the microphone and by my fellow board members, who I have a heart filled with respect and admiration for. I'm not sure that you really can understand how difficult it is to make the kinds of decisions when you're sitting out there, but when you're up here and you have people that you really respect and adore and you disagree. It's hard. It is hard, hard work. And this board has done an amazing job of working together to, I think, which is what I think our politicians need to do, is take two sides of something and find the best of both. Find that compromise, find the best path forward. Each one of my colleagues here are exemplary at that. They have just done a beautiful, beautiful job of always trying to find the best solution. When I first got on the board, I remember when I first was running for the board, that was in 2008. I remember the League of Women Voters in the newspaper, they're like, why are you running for the board? Why are you running for the board? And I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I running for the board? And I knew that my answer to that was that I believe that education is the path forward, not just for an individual to have a fulfilled and meaningful life, but for a society, for a democracy to work. You need an educated electorate. You need to have people who care deeply about the people around them and understand that it's not always black and white, it's not always right and wrong. There's lots of nuances of gray, and we have to find a way to respect one another and to be able to think logically about a situation rather than be spoon-fed what to think. I ran because I fervently believe that public education is an immense privilege and that getting an education is the purest path forward. The magnitude of that answer is now exponentially truer to me than it was then. As I've reflected, I've thought about so many of the ups and downs that we've been through, the challenges and the heartaches and the moments of celebration. I thought about the progress that this district has made and about new challenges that have arisen, things that we never could have imagined 16 years ago. So for example, the iPhone was invented the year I ran for office, 2007. And AI was a science fiction movie, and school shootings didn't happen over and over and over and over again in society. the world looked a lot different. And in fact, it's hard to even recognize the rapid changes that have taken place since then, especially when we look at how the world and our students are navigating that landscape today. We didn't yet know how deeply the internet would become woven into our daily lives. Smartphones were just beginning, and social media was a new frontier. We were focused on traditional learning tools, books, chalkboards, face-to-face interactions. I remember purchases that came forward to us, like when we were going to have our first smart board, and we were like, oh my gosh. But now in 2024, our schools are digital ecosystems. Every student has a device. Students have access to more information than ever before, and they can connect with their peers, with experts, with educators from across the globe. And yet with that access comes a new set of challenges, one that we could hardly have imagined back in 2008. While the challenges have evolved, so too has our commitment to providing the very best education possible for our students. Over the years, we've seen the rise of the STEM program, and I know that significant improvement took place because of the hard work of a couple of our board members up here. A push for social emotional learning, and a growing recognition that education isn't just about academics. It's about preparing our children for the world beyond the classroom. We've invested in technology, updated our curricula, and worked hard to ensure that every student, regardless of background or circumstance, has access to the tools and opportunities that they need to succeed. But it hasn't always been easy. We've weathered incredible financial challenges. Our state legislature that does not support public education in the way that they should. Inequitable funding, to be sure, and while it's been somewhat changed, it is still a glaring problem. We face debates over test scores and school safety and the role of mental health to support our schools, and through it all, the mission has remained the same, to ensure that our children are ready for the future, whatever that future may look like. In many ways, the world of 2008 might feel like a simpler time, but the one thing that hasn't changed is the incredible resilience, creativity, and potential that our children bring into the classroom every day. They are the leaders of tomorrow, and it's been a privilege to be part of shaping the path that will guide them there. What also hasn't changed, and in fact, I would say it's even better, is the immense dedication of the extraordinary staff of the Waterford School District. As I reflect on the progress we've made, I'm so proud of the work that's been done. And I'm also mindful of how much more we have to do. Our children are still facing challenges that we may not fully understand, AI being one of them. The world they will inherit is one that will continue to evolve rapidly. But one thing is certain, the foundation of a strong and supportive education system is more crucial than ever. To my fellow board members, administrators, teachers, bus drivers, food service workers, paraprofessionals, our custodians, our secretaries, our counselors, and all of our dedicated staff, I am filled with gratitude for the incredible work that you do every single day to support our students. While our children are in the classroom learning, it's the work you do, whether in the cafeteria or the school bus or in the hallways, that makes their education possible. Your tireless dedication, compassion, and commitment to their well-being might often seem unseen, but it is never unappreciated. To our amazing administrative staff, I am in awe. You do the behind-the-scenes work, removing roadblocks, guiding staff, ensuring that everything we do, and I like to say this, is a laser focus to support the learning that goes on in the 4 rooms of that classroom. To our bus drivers, you are the first and last face of our students each and every day. You ensure they travel safely, start their day with a smile, and return home safely. I've seen you sing on social media. I've seen you take a child and put him back on the bus because their parent wasn't home. The responsibility you carry is immense, and your care for the students day in and day out does not go unnoticed. To our food service workers, thank you for providing the most nutritious meals, an amazing program that is honestly one of the best in the state. We've been on the front cover of magazines because we've been innovative in what we've done. Your contribution is so much more than just the food on their plates. It's about nourishing their growth in every sense of the word. To our secretaries, you do it all. You're the face of the school, the Band-Aid provider, the schedule keeper, the kind word to our parents, to our students, and the one who keeps everything running flawlessly. To our paras, you play an essential role in making sure every student receives the support that they need, whether you're assisting with learning, providing encouragement, or offering a helping hand. Your patience, care, and dedication ensure that no student is left behind. You help create an inclusive environment where every student can thrive. To our custodians, you are the unsung heroes. I've seen kids vomit in the hallways. I've seen bodily fluids that you've had to clean up from accidents in the kindergarten. Your work ensures that every classroom, hallway, restroom, and playground is ready for the day ahead. Your dedication to maintaining a healthy and tidy environment is essential for our students' well-being and their ability to focus on learning. You go above and beyond, often working quietly behind the scenes, and your efforts are the foundation of the safe and nurturing space where our students grow and succeed. And to our teachers, I'm going to cry, you are the heart of our education system. You inspire, you challenge, and you shape the minds of the future. Your unwavering passion for teaching and your dedication to our students is the foundation upon which their dreams are built. You don't just teach subjects, you teach life lessons, you teach confidence, and you teach hope. Your work makes an impact that lasts a lifetime. To all of our staff members, to every person who plays a role in supporting our schools, and to my board colleagues, thank you. You're the backbone of our schools, and your work helps create a safe, clean, and supportive environments where our students can learn and grow. Each of you brings something vital to the table, and together you make up a community of care and support that ensures our schools run smoothly. My greatest joy in serving on this board has been the people that I have been so immensely privileged to meet along the way. There are a million names that I could name right now, people I would never have had an opportunity to get to know were it not for the privilege of being here. I do want to thank specifically Megan. You have been amazing. I am in awe of how you, with a heart of gold, every day manage the very diverse and crazy world that gets thrown at you every single day. You have made us sane, you have made us professional, you have made us so much more efficient and effective, and that you always do it with such grace, and I'm grateful to you. I also met my very best friend Heather also on the board, and that was a bonus for me that I never expected, and it changed my life, and I will miss her always. Also want to quickly thank my husband who's sitting out in the audience, who I know you guys know me. I am a tough cookie. He puts up with me every day. And he makes me better. I have all kinds of words here, and I'm just going to sum it up by saying, as I step away from my time on this board, I leave with a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the dedicated educators, parents, and community members who have worked tirelessly to improve the lives of our students. And gratitude for the students themselves who, despite the challenges, continue to inspire us with their curiosity, their drive, and their hope for a better future. Thank you for trusting me with the honor of serving our community. I look so forward to seeing all that lies ahead. Thank you.
Colleagues, anything else? Mr. Donahue?
I would be remiss if we didn't talk about Scott Lindbergh quickly. For Scott, as you know, he's retiring as of December 31st from the school district. I've had the opportunity to know Scott for 25 years, and I've had the chance to work with him for 4 when in Huron Valley School Districts. He was the middle school principal, and I was director of alternative programs. And we worked closely together during those 4 years. When he got the job here as a superintendent, I was very excited for not only for him, but for the school district and everything that he could bring to this school district. And it was all proved to be true in his 5 years here. And so as Julie was, pushing and prodding me to run for the school board, and I was moving that way, and knowing that I would have the opportunity to work with Scott again was kind of the final push for me, and to come in and help out in any way that I possibly could. So, just wanted to say, for all the work that he's done here and in his years of service, wherever he's been, Scott, cheers to you for the best yet to come, both mentally and physically, and enjoy your well-deserved retirement.
You're here.
Other board event reports tonight? All Right. Yeah, big shout out to Scott Lindberg. Congratulations on your retirement. And really quick, I wanted to shout out Taylor Brewer. She's one of our amazing seventh grade students over at Pierce. I don't know, did you see her on Fox 2 News the other night? She has a foundation called Slay for Smiles, which delivers toys to children who are in the hospital around the holidays. Again, just amazing, amazing. She's got wonderful parents, Jenny and Ron Brewer. Taylor's a friend of the family, and again, I wouldn't be surprised if one day we see her sitting up here. So big shout out to Taylor. Any other board reports? Colleagues, seeing no further business tonight, the meeting is adjourned. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.